Hello and welcome to RTM News. My name is Emmy Akura Adaa, and I will bring you the latest stories in our news for tonight to you. Starting with the first story coming in South Africa, man shot and killed the boxing champion Leandri dies in hospital. The estranged police officer boyfriend of female boxing champion Leandri Baby Lee Jesus, who shot and killed her on Friday, died in hospital. According to the Independent Police Investigative Directorate, the man was arrested on Friday after a head-on collision near Pedi in the Eastern Cape. He also shot and wounded Jedi's mother, Rita, who is receiving treatment in hospital. The two women were on their way to boxing gym in Ndatshane when they were confronted by her partner, according to Boxing South Africa. In a statement released on Saturday, BSA chairperson Peter said the Jaggers manager Tenjin Feni informed them that this is when the boxer and her mother were shot. The man then fled the scene before he was arrested by police near Pedi. Still in South Africa, South African police struggling amid latest xenophobic attacks. Police in South Africa have been overwhelmed by looters in the latest round of xenophobic attacks by residents of GP's Town, an area close to commercial hub Johannesburg. Multiple local media outlets say the rampant looting of shops and touching of buildings had been registered in the riot. The reporters add that looters have targeted businesses of foreigners. Elsewhere, rioters have blocked roads and burnt tires, obstructing movement of persons and vehicles. The police has been caught in running battles with them across parts of Johannesburg. Still in South Africa, 7 students arrested following protest action at Nelson Mandela University. 7 students, including Nelson Mandela University student, Representative Council Chairperson Bayane Matiwan, have been arrested following protest action at the university's in Port Elizabeth campus. A police spokesperson, Colonel Priscilla Naidu, confirmed to News 24 that the students were being heard at the Homewood police station. She said, however, it was unclear when they would appear in court. It is believed the student protested because of safety and security concerns at the university, but management said it had not been told of the intended protest. Naidu said that the arrested student faced charges of public violence, incitement to commit violence, and obstructing the police in their duties. And in the last South African story for tonight, we needed to meet talk to communities about the looting, says Becky Sele. More police officers will be sent to volatile areas in Gauteng as the looting and violence spread on Monday. After going to Johannesburg, which has seen the most of the violence, Police Minister Becky Sele said that additional police officers will be deployed to deal with the unrest. We need to stop any form of looting by bringing more police. Sele say we will have meetings with the communities because for us, what we help is to involve the community, the leadership at all levels. We believe that talking to the people, life will be better rather than sending only security to deal with the matter. We need to deal with it both politically at government level and speak with the people, Sele said. After the short break, we will continue in Africa. Stay tuned.
Programs education and entertainment for spiritual messages uplifting your soul. We are here. Redemption Television Ministries, redeeming lives is our focus. For quality programs, Wahi, education and entertainment, for spiritual messages uplifting your soul. We are here. Redemption Television Ministries, redeeming lives is our focus. For quality programs, Wahi, education and for spiritual messages uplifting your soul. We are here. RTM, 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 Redemption Television.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at the stories coming in these segments. Sudan court charged ousted Bashir with the corruption, illicit forest deposition. A Sudanese judge formally indicted Omar al-Bashir for possessing illicit foreign currency and corruption charges the ousted leader challenged as he was publicly questioned for the first time since his overthrow. Bashir said that he had received $25 million from Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman as well as funds from other sources, but that he had not received or used the money for his own benefit. A lawyer for Bashir said that his client denied the charges against him and that witnesses for the defense would be presented at the next hearing. The judge denied a request for bail and said a decision on the duration of Bashir's detention will be taken at a hearing on September 7. Foreign currency held by Bashir was illicit and had been transferred illegally, he said. Still in this segment, Burkina Faso sentences 2 generals over 2015 failed coup. 2 generals were accused of plotting Burkina Faso's 2015 failed coup have been found guilty and sentenced to 10 and 20 years in prison. General Gilbert and Djibril Bassol were handed the sentences yesterday by the military court. A former right-hand man of former Burkinabe President Blaise Compaoré was convicted for an attack on state security and murder. General Bassol, a former sovereign affairs minister, was convicted for treason. Still in this segment, Kenya suspended visit to Hell's Gate Park after flash flood death. Kenya authorities have suspended visit to the gorge of the famous Hell's Gate National Park in the Rift Valley after a flash flood killed 6 tourists and their driver. Paul Odoto, spokesperson for the Kenya Wildlife Service, said those who died in the Sunday evening tragedy were 5 Kenyans of Indian descent and an Indian national and their Kenyan driver. 6 of the bodies have been recovered, Odoto said. 7 years ago, 7 members of a church group died when they were washed away by floods in the same area which is prone to flash flood during the rainy season. Still in this segment, we committed genocide in Namibia, German minister says. German's development minister Jed Muala said his country committed genocide in Namibia, referring to the slaughter of Herero and Nama tribe people more than a century ago. Muala joins a growing list of senior government members to use the genocide term even as compensation claims are under discussion. It is in the meantime clear that the crimes and abominations from 1904 to 1908 were what we today describe as genocide. Muala said that after meeting tribespeople on Friday, according to a military spokesperson, German soldiers slaughtered some 65,000 Hereros and 10,000 Nama members in a 1904 and 1908 campaign after a revolt against land sieges by colonists in what historians and the United Nations have long called the first genocide of the 20th century. After the short break, we'll be taking a look at our Nigerian story. Stay tuned.
Programs were education and entertainment for spiritual messages uplifting your soul. We are here. RTM, 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 Redemption Television Ministries, redeeming lives is our focus. For quality programs, why education and entertainment for spiritual messages uplifting your soul. We are here. RTM, 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 Redemption Television Ministries, redeeming lives is our focus. education and entertainment, for spiritual messages uplifting your soul. We are here.
Welcome back. You're still watching RTM News. Supreme Court dismisses suit against Buhari. The Supreme Court yesterday struck out an appeal seeking the disqualification of President Muhammadu Buhari as a candidate in the last presidential election. The case was anchored on the allegation that Buhari submitted false information regarding his academic qualification and certificate to the Independent National Electoral Commission as a candidate in the February 23, 2019 poll. A five-man panel of the Apex Court led by Justice Mary Peter Odili struck out the case after the appeal was withdrawn by the appellant lawyer Okbai Okairo on Monday. Still in Nigeria, UN calls for urgent action to end violence in Nigeria. The United Nations Special Rapporteur on Extrajudicial Killings condemned the rising violence across Nigeria and the lack of accountability for perpetrators. Agnes Kalamard, speaking at a news conference on Monday in Nigeria's capital, said the country needed urgent action to end the pressure cooker of violence that has claimed thousands of lives. Nigeria is currently facing multiple conflicts, from attacks by the armed group Boko Haram to fighting between nomadic herders and farmers. The overall situation that I encountered in Nigeria gives rise to extreme concern. The warning signs are flashing bright red, increased numbers of attacks and killings over the last 5 years, with a few notable exceptions, Calamerde said at a news conference. Still in Nigeria, we are targets of attacks in Benue, says Igbo residents. Igbo communities in various parts of Benue State, especially Boko, on Monday alleged that the Igbo were being targeted for kidnapping and murder by native gangs and bandits. Addressing journalists at a press conference in Enugu, Mr. Okafo Nolim, one of the leaders of the Igbo community in Boko, claimed there was no weak and Igbo person was not kidnapped or murdered in Benue State, saying we have been subjected to pay millions of naira in ransom. Nolim added, we can no longer do our business freely for fear of being kidnapped or murdered. Since January this year, we have had over 50 Igbo people kidnapped and some murdered in cold blood by bandits and suspected herdsmen. On his part, Chief Ndukaku, a fabrics merchant at the Boko Central Market, accused security agencies of complicity. And taking a look at the last story coming in this segment, FG condemns the fresh attacks on Nigerians in South Africa. The federal government said on Monday it would take definite measures to prevent future attacks on Nigerians living in South Africa. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyema, while reacting to the first xenophobic attacks on Nigerians in the former apartheid enclave, said the government was not happy with the incident. He said received sickening and depressing news of continued burning and the looting of Nigerian shops and premises in South Africa by mindless criminals with ineffective police protection. Enough is enough. We will take definitive measures, he stated. After the short break, we'll be taking a look at our international stories. Stay tuned.
Programs were here, education and entertainment, for spiritual messages uplifting your soul. We are here. Education and entertainment, for spiritual messages uplifting your soul. We are here. Redemption Television Ministries, redeeming lives is our focus. education and entertainment, for spiritual messages uplifting your soul. We are here. RTM, 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 Redemption Television.
Welcome back. Italian Prime Minister Conte appeals those five-star members to back new government ahead of online vote. Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte urged the members of the anti-establishment five-star movement to back a new coalition with opposition Democratic Party, as the group is due to hold an online vote on the matter. With the outcome of the vote uncertain, Conte said in a Facebook video, the proposed coalition would be good for Italy. I understand your doubt, but there is a unique opportunity to show we can really decisively reform this country and do extraordinary things, said Conte, a law professor who has no political affiliation but is seen as close to five-star. Still in this segment, Bavarian MPs who don't enforce environmental rules could face jail. The European Court of Justice will start examining whether German courts should be giving prison sentences to politicians who don't enforce bans on heavily polluting cars. The case stems from a long-standing dispute between environmental activists and the state government of Bavaria. The environmental group is trying to force the Bavarian government to implement measures against air pollution in the state capital of Munich, where nitrogen dioxide levels exceed the EU limit. In 2014, a Munich court demanded a plan of action from the state government for a city ban for diesel cars. Environmental activists claim the Bavarian government is ignoring these ruling on purpose. Stating this segment, police detained Russian opposition activists after Moscow protest. Russian opposition activist Lyubov Sobol, an ally of Kremlin critic Alexei Navalny, was detained by police on Monday after a weekend protest in Moscow. Navalny's spokesperson said on Twitter, a few thousand Russians took to the street of Moscow on Saturday to demand free elections to the capital city legislature on September 8, defining a ban enforced by detention during previous protests. Protesters have been calling for the release of activists detained in earlier rallies, and Sobol on Saturday described the arrest as mayhem, blaming it on the city government. Taking a look at the last story coming in this segment, Peru to boost border security after stricter entry rule for Venezuelans. Peru plans to beef up security at its border with Ecuador to prevent illegal immigration. After stricter entry requirement for Venezuelans led to a 90% drop in legal crossing, a government official said on Monday. More than 850,000 Venezuelans have fled their homeland for Peru in recent years, part of a mass exodus from the Caribbean nation as it faces a crippling economic crisis. But in June, Peru started requiring Venezuelans who arrived to already have visas, part of stricter policies for Venezuelans in some South American nations. And these are all the stories we have for you in our international stories. After the short break, we'll be taking a look at our sports stories. Stay tuned.
Programs were here, education and entertainment, for spiritual messages uplifting your soul. We are here. RTM, 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 Redemption Television Ministries, redeeming lives is our focus. For quality programs were here, education and entertainment, for spiritual messages uplifting your soul. We are here. RTM, 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 Redemption Television Ministries, redeeming lives is our focus. education and entertainment, for spiritual messages uplifting your soul. We are here.
You're still watching RTM News. Let's take a look at the stories coming in our sports stories. Mario Icardi joined PSG on season-long loan from Inter Milan. Argentina striker Mario Icardi has joined Paris Saint-Germain on season-long loan from Inter Milan. The 26-year-old has also signed a 2-year contract extension at Inter, but PSG have the option to make the move permanent for a reported fee of 65 million euro. Icardi spent 6 years at Inter, scoring 124 goals in 219 appearances. Still in the sports story, Jadon Sancho, England winger, fears players will fall out of love with football if racism continues. Sancho says the incident of racism have made him question why he plays football and fears they will make players lose their love of the sport. Lukaku became the latest victim of abuse on Sunday after he was subjected to racism chant while playing for Inter Milan at Cagliari. These followed incidents of abuse directed at Paul Pogba, Marcus Rashford and Tammy Abraham on social media. It just has to stop, England and Borussia Dortmund winger Sancho said. Still in the transfer window, Stefano Okaka, Italy striker, joined Udinese from Watford. Striker Stefano Okaka has joined Serie A club Udinese from Watford on a permanent deal. The 30-year-old has signed a 3-year contract at the Italian side, keeping him at the club until 2022. Okaka spent the second half of last season on loan at Udinese and scored 6 goals in 16 appearances. The Italy international moved to Watford from Anderlecht in 2016 and scored 5 goals in 39 appearances for the Hermits. And taking a look at the last story coming in our sports story, US Open 2019, Rafael Nadal beat Marin Cilic to make a quarterfinals. Spanish second seeded Rafael Nadal responded to the challenger thrown down by 2014 champion Marin Cilic as he battled to reach the US Open quarterfinals with a 4-set win. Nadal, 33, ultimately had too much quality for the Croatian 22 seed in a 6-3, 3-6, 6-1, 6-2 victory in New York. Cilic, 30, briefly rediscovered his best form to level before waiting. And those are all the stories we have for you on News for tonight. See you again tomorrow, same time, same station. Do have a wonderful evening.
Redemption Television Ministries, redeeming lives is our focus. Well, for quality programs, why education